بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. I hope you guys can hear me fine. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the very first session of التعبير القرآني. So we're starting a new series today, inshallah. Hopefully, I don't know how long it's going to take us, but we'll see. We might finish the entire book, or we might decide, once we get good enough and you guys can, just go through it yourselves. But we'll see how far we can be able to do it, inshallah. Just a few disclaimers. I'm a student like you guys. Just because I'm hosting these classes doesn't mean I know better. So you guys understand that I make mistakes as well. And when I make mistakes, I expect you guys to correct me and to point them out. And if there's any clarification or anything, that we miss out, you can point them out and we can mention them in the recording or in the Zoom, in the YouTube link or channel, so that people can be aware of the same. The other thing is I'm not sure about the format of how this class is going to go. I'm still figuring it out. So we'll see how it goes, inshallah, how we begin, and if we will adjust as we go along. That's basically what I hope for us to do, so that we can gain the most benefit and everybody can benefit from it as well. So inshallah, so this is the book. I hope you can be able to see my screen. This is the book, the PDF of it. تعبير القرآني. And it starts with this ayah, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل لئن اجتمعت الإنس والجن على أن يأتوا بمثل هذا القرآن لا يأتون بمثله ولو كان بعضهم لبعض ظهيرا. So he quotes this ayah where it says, even if human beings and jinn were together to bring an example of this Quran, they would not be able to bring an example of it, even if they were to assist each other in doing so. And then basically what I wanted to do is for us to actually go through the book and see what the author said. So inshallah, today we'll read the introduction, the taqdeem of the book. And if we can be able to begin the book as well, we'll see. So again, after the ayah, he quotes a hadith. Although this hadith, some people are saying it's not really authentic, but he quotes it nonetheless. So inna hadha al-Qur'ana, indeed this Quran, ma'dubatullahi, it is the banquet of Allah. فَاقْبِلُوا مَأْدُبَتَهُ مَسْتَطَعْتُمْ. So accept his invitation or his banquet as much as you can. Inna hadha al-Qur'ana hablullahi wal-nur wal-shifaa wal-shifaa'un nafi'u. This Quran is the rope of Allah and his light and his shifa, cure, and nafi', his beneficial cure. عصمة لمن تمسك به. So I'm forgetting what asma is. But it's basically beneficial for whoever holds on to it. ونجاة لمن اتبع, and a salvation for whoever, or saving for whoever follows it. لا يزيغ, it does not deviate. فيستعتب, he is satisfied with it, or therefore satisfied with it. ولا يعوج, and it does not make somebody, it does not cause crookedness, basically. فيقوم, it straightens. ولا تنقضي عجائبه, and its wonders never cease. ولا يخلق من كثرة الرد, and it is not worn out from excessive mention or from so much interaction with it. اتلوه فإن الله يأجركم على تلاوته كل حرف 10 حسنات. Read it or recite it, because Allah rewards you for reading it, every letter or each letter 10 hasanat, 10 good deeds. أما إني لا أقول ألف لام ميم حرف. I am not saying, this is the Prophet saying, I am not saying that ألف لام ميم is a حرف, ولكن ألف حرف ولام حرف وميم حرف. Rather, I am saying ألف is a حرف, ولام is a حرف, and mim is a حرف. Okay? And then he says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and taqdeem. This is the beginning of the book. I hope the font is, let me make it bigger because this part is a bit, okay. make it even bigger. All right. So it says, الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا والصلاة والسلام على رافع لواء الهدى سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه والداعين بدعوته وبعد. I think this is something we're all familiar with if you watch Ustad's Friday sermons, or if you just attend any Friday prayer. Most of the time they would say something along this line. So basically it's just doing hamd. Alhamdulillah alladhi anzala ala abdihi al-kitab. Alhamdulillah to the one who sent the book to his servant. وَلَمْ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ عِوَجًا. This is basically an ayah. وَالصَّلَاةُ وَالسَّلَامُ عَلَى رَافِعِ لِوَاءِ الْهُدَى. And the salutations and peace be upon the one who raised the banner of guidance, our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and to his ashab, وَالدَّاعِينَ بِدَعْوَتِهِ, and those who call to his message or to his calling. Okay. Now I'm just going to read through this, unless you guys want us to actually look at the grammar of this and go through it. But I don't know that it's something that you want us to do. But I just figured I want to read this so that we can understand what the author expects from us, because he talks about the expectation of the reader at some point. So I just wanted us to be familiar with what the author wants from us as we delve into this book. And then after that, we'll go into now like our bayina notes, basically, and then we begin the book. We might not be able to cover a lot of the book. I am hoping if we can just do page 4, 1 page alone, that would be good. Inshallah. So let's see how far we get. All right. And if you have any questions, again, feel free to stop me or to raise your hand or to type it in the chat and let me know if we can be able to. And if I make any mistakes, again, guys, just correct me. Okay. All right. So he says, Dr. Fadil Sami Ra'i, rahimahullah. فقد كنت أسمع من يقول, I used to hear those who say إن القرآن معجز, that the Quran is a mu'jiz, okay, is miraculous. وإنه أعلى كلام, and that it is the highest speech. وإنه لا يمكن مجاراته أو مداناته, and that it is not possible to challenge, to undermine it, or to keep up with it. So mujarat, to keep up with it, mudanat, to condemn it. وأن الخلق أجمعين لو اجتمعوا على أن يقولوا مثله ما استطاعوا. And even if the entire creation were together على أن يقولوا مثله, to say something like it, ما استطاعوا, they will not be able to. وقد قرأت في كثير من الكتب نحوا من هذا القول. And I read a lot, or I read similar statements from a lot of books. Okay, so that's I'm just doing a very like, I'm not paraphrasing, I'm not translating word for word, but I'm trying to bring it as much as possible, so that, because the idea is I want us to understand the aim of the book, right? وكنت أرى في هذا غلوا ومبالغة, and I used to see in this, in the books that he used to read about, the miraculous nature of the Quran, he used to see it as extreme or, excessive, like it's exaggeration. That's the word. Yeah. So both ghuluwan and mubalagha have kind of like similar meanings of exaggeration. دفع القائلين به حماسهم الديني وتعصبهم للعقيدة التي يحملونها. Their religious fanaticism and what is tahassub? Intolerance, and the intolerance that they had basically informed or motivated those who said this. So they based their understanding of the miraculous nature of the Quran based on religious fanaticism and intolerance of aqidah, basically. That's what he's saying, or that's his view before he went into the study of the Quran. وكنت أقرأ كثيرا من التعليلات التي يستدل بها أصحابها على سمو هذا التعبير. And I used to read a lot of explanations that indicate, or the owners of them indicated the elevation of this expression, of this تعبير. كارتبات الآيات, for example, the connection of آيات ببعضها, so how the ayahs are connected, وارتباط فواتح الصور, and the connection of the beginnings of the surah بخواتمها, and the ending. So the connection between surahs, ayat, beginnings and endings, وارتباط السور بعضها ببعض, and just the connection of surahs in general, one surah and the next. واختيار الألفاظ دون مرادفاتها, and the choice of certain words as opposed to its synonyms. So we know words have different synonyms, so why would they choose this word over the other? ونحو ذلك, and similar examples like that. فلا أراها علمية, so I couldn't see it as scholarly or academic or scientific. وأجد كثيرا منها متكلفا, and I used to find most of it actually like it's artificial. So he used to find that whenever he used to read it, he didn't find it scientific or academic enough, and he used to find it artificial in a sense. وكنت أقول, and I used to say, إنه لو كان التعبير على غير ذلك لعللوه أيضا. The fact of the matter is, if the Quranic expressions were more than that, they would have, they would have explained it also. They would have given more explanation. Yeah. فإن الإنسان لا يعدم تعليلا لما يريد, because the human being doesn't lack explanation for what he wants, so we can always find an explanation of something. إلا أنه بمرور الزمان وبعد اطلاعي على مؤلفات, except that after some time and after my own, so now the author is speaking himself, so after my own examination on different publications, أحسبها غير قليلة من كتب اللغة والتفسير والإعجاز والبلاغة ونحوها. I don't consider, like he basically looked at مؤلفات that he doesn't consider few, so he looked at several books of lugha and tafsir and i'jaz and balagha and similar like books, which he doesn't consider few. Like he looked at very many. When he says أحسبها غير قليل, yeah, or قليلة, like I don't assume them to be little. The books that he looked at, he doesn't assume them to be few. So he looked at quite a number of books. In other words, he's saying, I looked at quite a number of publications in books of lugha, of linguistics, of tafsir, of i'jaz, of balagha, and similar like it. وذلك, and because of and that because بحكم اختصاصي, because of my own wisdom of specialization, because he's a grammarian, okay, so he's a grammar person, so he has some specialization and some skills. So he says, because of the wisdom of my specialization, بدأت أميل إلى تصديق هذه المقولة. I began to incline or to lean towards affirming this saying. So whatever they were saying, as the Quran is a mu'jiza, the Quran, is the highest speech and whatnot. Before, he never used to believe. Then he started his own research, and then he started to incline towards these sayings. فقد اتضح لي أن قسما غير قليل مما كتب. So it became clear to me that a portion of what was written, a portion that is not little or that is not few, like quite a number of what was written, كتب بروح علمية, was written with a scientific sense, if you will, like with an academic sense, yeah. بروح علمية عالية, with a high academic sense. وأن كثيرا مما كتب لا أزال أراه الآن كما كنت أراه من قبل. And quite a bit of what was written, I still consider it like the way I used to consider it before. So he was convinced with some of it, but some of it he wasn't convinced, right? ثم قررت أن أدرس النص القرآني بنفسي. So I decided to study the Quranic text myself. فبدأت أجري موازنات بين كثير من الآيات. So I began to perform or to conduct موازنات comparisons. So I began to perform or conduct comparisons بين كثير من الآيات between many of the آيات من حيث التشابه والاختلاف في التعبير, from the angle of similarity and differences in expression, والتقديم والتأخير, and bringing forth and delaying, والذكر والحذف, and mentioning something and hiding the mention of something, وما إلى ذلك من أمور لغوية وبلاغية ومعنوية. And even more than that, in matters of linguistics, balagha, and meaning. وأفحصها فحصا دقيقا, and I try to explain it thoroughly and precisely. Okay, so أفحصها فحصا, this is مفعول مطلق, so that's why I'm not translating the فحصا, I'm just saying perfectly or precisely or things like that. Okay. فرعاني ما رأيت من الدقة في التعبير والإحكام في الفن والعلو في الصنعة. What I saw from position of the expression and the rulings in artistry, fun, artistry, artistic, والعلوي, and highness or elevation in construction is what convinced me. So this whole sentence here basically is basically the outside, the dua of Fara'ani. It's the outside dua of Fara'ani. So this is what I considered or convinced me in a sense. Yeah. وجدت تعبيرا فنيا مقصودا. I found an expression that is artistic and deliberate. حسب لكل كلمة فيه حسابها. Every word was like measured appropriately or accurately. بل لكل حرف, rather every letter. بل لكل حركة, rather every حركة. So every fatha, every kasra, all that was measured beautifully and precisely. وكلما أمعنت النظر والتدقيق والموازنة, and every time I took a closer look and scrutinized precisely the comparisons and compared, is that to be ذاك يقينا وبصيرة. I increased in that conviction and insight. وانتهيت إلى حقيقة مسلمة بالنسبة إلي, and I ended up with a reality, an obvious reality according to me. Yeah. وهي أن هذا القرآن لا يمكن أن يكون من كلام البشر, and that is that this Quran is not possible for it that it is the speech of a human. So it is not possible that this Quran is the speech of a human being. وأن الخلق أولهم وآخرهم لو اجتمعوا على أن يفعلوا مثل ذلك ما قدروا عليه ولا قاربوا. And if the entire creation, the first of them and the last of them, had they gathered to do this or to bring something like this Quran, ما قدروا, they would not be able to do it, ولا قاربوا, they would not even come near it. Subhanallah. وأنا لا أطلب من القارئ, so he says, and I'm not requesting the reader أن يسلم بهذه الحقيقة, to surrender to this truth or this reality. فإن هذا طلب لا مطمع منه لمجرد القول والدعاء, because this is not something that you gain from just speech and request. Like it's not an ambition that is gotten from speech and request. وإنما الذي أطلبه, in fact what I am requesting from the reader, منه, the who goes back to the qari, the reader, أن يخلع عنه الجلباب العصبية وينظر بروح علمية مجردة. What I am requesting from the reader is that the jilbab, the cover of fanaticism, is removed from him, and he looks at it with a scientific or with an academic, with a scholarly sense that is pure, mujarrada, pure, or with a pure scholarly sense. So that's what he's requesting for us, to look at this with an open, pure scientific or scholarly or academic sense. وأنا لا أشك في أنه سيصل إلى ما وصلت إليه. And I don't doubt that he will arrive at what I arrived. Okay, so he will reach the same conclusion that I reached. صحيح أن كثيرا من الناس ليس لديهم اطلاع على المسلمات اللغوية. It is true that a lot of people, they don't have the examination of مسلمات. These مسلمات, I'm forgetting this word, مسلمات, it was used, obvious, yeah. So they don't have obvious, basically, linguistic explanations. Like, we don't have access to this stuff. وليس لديهم معرفة بأحكام اللغة. And we don't have, basically, معرفة, the knowledge of linguistic rulings وأسرارها and its secrets. ومن الصعب أن يهتدي هؤلاء إلى أمثال هذه المواطن. And it is obviously difficult for these people to be guided to the examples of such. من غير دليل يأخذ بأيديه من غير دليل يأخذ بأيديهم يدلهم على مواطن الفن والجمال, without any indication or any evidence, any proof that guides them or that points to them to these instances of beauty and artistry. ويبصرهم بأسرار التعبير, and gives them insights to the secrets and the secrets of expression. ويوضح لهم ذلك بأمثلة يعونها ويفهمونها. And it explains to them with examples that they are made aware of and they understand. Okay, so he's acknowledging that most of us will find it difficult to come to these conclusions because we don't have the expertise and we don't have access to, you know, linguistic knowledge and, you know, all the secrets and all this stuff. But he says, وَهَذَا الْكِتَابُ أَحْسَبُهُ مِنْ هَذَا النَّمَطِ. But and this book, I hope, or I count it to be one of this, you know, to be one of these places, basically. فَمَا هُوَ إِلَّا دَلِيلٌ, because it is nothing like except a proof. So he's hoping that this book will be a guide or a proof for those people who do not have access to linguistics and things like that, or the secrets of language. إِلَّا دَلِيلٌ يُشِيرُ إِلَى شَيْءٍ مِّن مَوَاطِنِ الْفَنِّ وَالْجَمَالِ. So he hopes that this book is an indication that points people to something of one of this amazing artistry and beauty, beautiful places of the Quran. ويبصر بقسم من أسرار التعبير, and he gets some insight with something of the secrets of expression. أنا لا أقول إني وضعت الكتاب بعيدا من العصبية والهوى. I am not saying that I have placed this book far away from fanaticism and inclinations and, you know, like people's inclinations and religious fanaticism. وإن كان يخيل إلي أني فعلت ذاك, even if it is imagined that I have done so. ولا أفترض أن القارئ سيسلم بكل ما يجده فيه. And I am not expecting that the reader will be convinced or will surrender to everything that he finds in it. ولا أطلب منه ذاك, and I am not requesting him to do that either. ولكني أدعو القارئ, however, I am requesting or I'm inviting the reader أن يقرأ بعقل متفتح, to read with an open mind, وقلب يقظان, and with a heart that is awake, وأن يصبر على ما لم يسبق له به علم, and to be patient with what he did not have knowledge of, من أمور اللغة, from the matters of language, حتى يعيها وذلك ليس بأمر عسير, until he becomes aware of it. So to be patient with what you don't know until you become aware of it, and that is not a difficult matter. وذلك ليس بأمر عسير, it is not a difficult matter. وأظنه متى فعل ذاك, and I think that when he does that, سيبصر ما أبصرناه سيبصر sorry سيبصر I think سيبصر ما أبصرناه وينتهي إلى ما انتهينا إليه. He will be given insight with what we have been given insight. وينتهي إلى ما انتهينا إليه, and he will end up where we ended up. نسأله تعالى أن يلهمنا الرشد. We ask Allah to inspire us with guidance. ألهم يلهم, by the way, this is where my name comes from. So ألهم يلهم إلهاما, inspiration. So I just wanted to share that information because my name appears there. Anyway, أيلهمنا الرشد. So Allah, we ask Allah to inspire us with guidance. ويجنبنا الزلل, and to protect us or to prevent us from slipping. إنه سميع مجيب. He is certainly all hearing and answering. And Fadil As-Sami Ra'i has signed it. So that's basically the introductory remarks of the author. Yeah. And now he begins the book, At-Ta'bir al-Qur'ani. Now, we can use our book here because the font is a bit better, I think. And I can write on it and I can do different things. So, oops, I made it too big. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Okay. So those are introductory remarks. Now we can go into the book itself. So what is he talking about? So the first chapter basically is called At-Ta'bir al-Quran. By the way, let's just look at how the book is organized here. So this is chapter 1, Taqdeem. Yeah, so this is chapter 1 that we're going to be looking at. Okay. Okay, so how do you guys want us to do this? Do I just read through it? And if you guys have any questions, you can ask, or do I explain this is a mubtada, this is a khabar? Do we go word for word? I don't know how to do this, honestly.
Can I say something to Selva?
Yes, please.
Selva, the way we are doing the prophet stories, like we do usually get prepared and come. And we read out the sentence with the translation as well. And whenever we have any queries in the sentence structure or with any word, you clarify us.
Okay.
So I thought that would be the better approach in case if anybody has anything from their side.
All right, that's great. Yeah, we can try that. So basically, if somebody wants to participate and read, we can do that. You can raise your hand, you can unmute yourself, and we can go step by step, I suppose. So we can read the entire thing and translate it.
If anyone has any other suggestions, Sister Ilham, I was trying for the first page, but where I was confused, that I was not able. Now, this is the book where the author is telling everything. Like it is, the author is doing the right. He is the one who wrote the book, and he is explaining us. So sometimes I feel like, is he talking about his opinions? This book is about his opinions and his thoughts, which is
yeah, and that's why I felt it important for us to read his taqdeem, basically his introduction, so that we can understand where he's coming from. So what we understand from the taqdeem is these are not exactly just his opinions. He's a scholar, he's a grammarian, he's a professor of grammar. And he didn't believe actually that the Quran was the highest speech. Like he used to hear people say, oh, Quran is miraculous and it's beautiful and it's the highest speech. And he didn't believe it. And because he had, scholarly background and he was a professor of grammar, he decided to actually take on this challenge. He was like, I'm going to actually do this on my own and see if the Quran is actually what they say. And of course, once he did that, he discovered a few things. And this is basically the presentation of what he discovered. So this book is his findings of the amazing nature of the Quran. Yeah, does that make any sense now?
Yes. So not like in the first and la khilafa. So it says he is saying that there is no doubt or there is no disagreement. He's saying his words and yeah, so based on his research of other texts,
So he came up with this. And of course, these are his own findings, his own, after a rigorous process of fact finding and checking and things like that. So this is what he came up with. Okay.
I was just saying, if anyone can come up with some better suggestions, it would help us to proceed further, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
This
Yes.
is Ilham. This is Saima. I've never read this before. So, and I don't attend your other lessons either, except for the grammar ones. So I'm like the most basic over here. If there are any suggestions that I could do before coming to the class, because I think others may have read, or maybe they're ahead of me.
No, this is
So-
even I haven't read it so far. It's for the first time. The initial days I had done that first page, so that is first page only I'm on still.
Right, that's why I started when he started, I read the first 2 lines or third line, and then I said, okay, I'm not doing justice to this. So maybe we can start slower and go with even meanings and grammar, and hopefully we'll get to a point where we know we don't need much help from you, and maybe we can say, okay, next week we are going to do this paragraph, so if you want to read it ahead, so we can look up the meanings ourselves. That way we are prepared instead of you just reading and we are zoning off.
True. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to do it like the way I did the introduction, because obviously most of you might have been like, what is happening if this class is going to go like this? That was not my intention. So that was just me going through it really. Yeah. So yeah, we can go slow. We can start slow, because I think majority of the people here have not read this.
So now, like, as we have like work commitments as well, if we can squeeze the syllabus, what we're going to read into a small portions, that would really help with the working class people, because you're attending your online class is the only reason where our doubts get rectified, rather than attending those the YouTube sessions. So we just request you to just squeeze us the matters so that we can make up with this, along with the work we can make it out, because from past 3-4 weeks I have a lot of work commitment. I was not able to come online during your class.
No problem. We can take it slow. We can just go bit by bit and see what we can be able to get out of it. Yes, Fauzia, let's hear what you have to say.
I think she said it, but I just want to reiterate. If we go slow by slow, and each of us can read maybe a single line or 2 lines, and then try and explain the grammar that we understand, and then everybody or you as Ustaza can help us clarify what we have thought and how it's different. Something similar to what BUJ does, but on a very smaller level, so that it doesn't become overwhelming. And then we can also try and translate it as we go along, so that we also understand what has been said and what we are reading, rather than just looking at the grammar and just looking at I don't know if I've made myself clear.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. That's fine. I think we just need to understand that, we might not be able to finish the book, or it might take us way longer, but that shouldn't worry us, because the idea is we just want to get better. So once we have that in the mind, then we'll just go at our own pace, and we'll try and figure it out as we go on. So maybe I was thinking if we can just maybe do 1 or 2 paragraphs for starters. We see our pace, we gauge ourselves, so that maybe next time tomorrow when we meet, we know, okay, I'm preparing maybe 2 paragraphs, or I'm preparing 1 page at least, or at most 1 page. And that's the page that we are going to just sort of like discuss and see if we understand everything that is happening that page. I think we're all agreeing to that. Yes, Fauzia?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just raising my hand to volunteer
participate.
to start reading. Yes.
Okay,
Sister
great.
Ilham, just one more thing. Actually, we have 2 days in a week, like Saturday and Sunday. So is it like BUJ you're going to plan up like for because there we get a gap of 15 days and we have around 4 to 5 pages, right? To cover up with. like as we are taking the only on Saturday and Sunday, so what you were expecting to have, like a, a paragraph or two, or how long you're going to host the class? It's going to be more than 2 paragraphs or more than a page, because I believe, like, again, if it goes with the 1 page itself, because it's not that easy as the other texts.
Text.
So
Yeah. No, I think it would just
So if you
depend
could
on our own pace. I don't want to put us too much pressure on us, or we're doing a page every session, or we're doing this many. We will, even if we just do one line in the entire session, I think that's fine, as long as we are getting some benefit out of it. So I think we will just self-pace ourselves. We won't have any, like, we
and the
won't,
class duration will be an hour, Sister Ilham?
yeah, just an hour. Yeah, like we normally do.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other clarifications before we begin? Okay, so for those who want to participate, maybe you can raise your hand and we can try and read something, figure out if we can understand a few things. Okay. All right, so we have Fauzia, we have Saima. Okay. So Fauzia, you can read the first line. And let's see what we can be able to figure out there.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. لا خلاف بين أهل العلم أن التعبير القرآني تعبير فريد في علوه وسموه. Should I stop there?
Yeah, you can stop up to the end. Let's figure that out.
Go right to the end? Okay. وإنه
Just, I think let's go bit by bit, because there are people who've never had this book before and they're probably wondering
Sure.
why you read it the way
Yeah.
you read it. And probably somebody was thinking, okay, why is it تعبير القرآنية here and things like that? Why is it لا خلاف and not لا خلاف and or any other?
That's my question too.
Yeah, so maybe we can try and
Okay.
figure out a few things that is happening here, but maybe you can just explain to us how you understand this part, up to wasumuwihi.
Okay, so I'm going to read the translation that we had done earlier. And something that's always popped out at me is how BUJ has always constructed the sentences with so much fluidity. For example, I did not know that we could start the sentence here with "there is no dispute between the people of knowledge that the Quranic expression is a unique expression in its loftiness and elevation."
Right.
When I started, I had translated this as no difference between people of knowledge, and I had not put in "there is." But as we've gone through so much with BUJ, I've now started to put in "there is" in front of sentences to make them more fluid and more clear.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. When you're translating, you have to also be able to make sense out of the text. It's not just a matter of, translating word for word, but of course we also look at the level we're in. So we start from somewhere. So of course, BUJ is at a higher level than all of us. So his translation cannot compare to our translation, obviously, because he has more knowledge than us. But when we start, we can start with direct translation. You can just say, okay, no difference, khilaf, you can translate as that. Baina, between, ahli al-ilmi, the people of knowledge, and التعبير القرآنية, that Quranic expression, because this is Mawsuf Sifa. Now, then you figure out, okay, what is happening? There's a break in the chain. When there's a break in the chain, you put an invisible is. Then you say, okay, so the whole thing is going to be my mubtada. So there's no doubt that there is no difference of opinion between the people of knowledge that Quranic expression is ta'birun faridun. So now here again, when you come to English, mawsuf sifa comes first. So it's a unique expression. Fi uluwihi, in its loftiness, wa sumuwihi, and its elevation. Both these words actually mean the same thing. So it's like synonyms. Yeah, ulu and sumu. So sama, we call it sama because it's elevated, and ala ala ya'lu, to be high. Allah is al-ali because he's the highest. So the same words, to be high and to be elevated, the same meaning there. All right. And why is it la khilafa? Because this is la an-nafyu lil jins. So it's that kind of la that makes, you know, nasab. So that's why we say la khilafa, even though it's at the beginning of the sentence. But because of this la, that's what happens. Any questions on that part before we move on? Is that, yes.
How's the sentence structure for this? So there's no difference between the people of knowledge, and then from unto that, that's a sentence. So there's mubtada and khabar and mutalik. And how is that connected to bayna ahli ilmi? Because of, I know there's a special un that, so it's stating it, just clarifying it. How?
Okay, so let's go slowly, bit by bit. So if you were to classify just from the looks of it, so la khilafa, we were on a roll when we were looking at the chains. So we normally, when we look at mubtada khabar, we look for breaking the chain. So la khilafa, there is no, this la nafyu lil jins. Of course, la nafyu lil jins comes with, most of the time it comes with, what is it called? Shabihul,
Shubha Jumla.
yeah, Shubh Jumla.
Shubha
So you
Jumla.
have, yes, so you have Baina Ahli al-Ilmi. This part is the Shibhul Jumla, like either Jar Majroor or a Darf. So it comes with that. So that's connected to La Nafyu lil Jins. And then Anna Ta'bir al-Qur'ani is answering the question what? Okay. So there's no contradiction or there's no difference of opinion that a Ta'bir al-Qur'ani. So that becomes like our mubtada in a sense. So that's our mubtada. And then you have an invisible is here. Ta'birun faridun is our khabar. So there is no difference of opinion that the Quranic expression is a unique expression. And then of course, fi uluwihi wa sumuwihi is a muta'alliq bil khabar. In what? In its elevation and its highness. Did that make any sense for you?
Yes, so like after qala there's maqul, so there is after la khaifa baina there is something explaining what.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
What it is. Yeah. Okay.
Can you write what she said? This could be like qala say maqulu qawlihi. What is this called? The mutash something.
Oh, Shibhul Jumla?
Shabbuhu. Yeah.
Shibhul Jumla, yeah. So Shibhul Jumla is basically just two things. It's either Jar Majroor or it's a Dharf. Basically what we call MBK or
Okay.
Muta'alliq. That's a Shibhul Jumla.
Okay. Oh.
All right. Okay.
So
let's-
till Ta'birul Quraniya, so the whole from La Khilafa till that it's Mubtada. Sister, na?
yes. Yes.
La Khilafa till this. Then Ta'birul Farid is a khabar and this is Mutaliq. The whole is forming one single Jumla. Jumla Ismiya.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Oh, it's connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions there?
Can we do a quick review of La Nafya lil Jins? It's the word, it's the la that makes the next word nasab.
Yes. So it's the
Right.
law of total negation. I don't know how it's called in the book. Law of complete negation or law of
Absolute
Categorical
absolute
negation.
Categorical.
Negation of the jins.
yeah, that's the word. Absolute negation. Yeah.
Negation of the jins.
Yeah, so that's basically what it does. So it's kind of like it kind of works like inna and its sisters. So it will make the mubtada, it will make it mansub. So if you were to remove the la, how would this sentence be? It would be khilafun bayna ahli al-ilmi. We would read it as khilafun, right? But then you bring la nafya lil jins, and what happens is that now it becomes like inna. Yeah, so now you have la khilafa, and it has an ism and it has a khabar. most of the time the khabar is mahdhuf. Most of the time, like for example, la ilaha illallah. Let me try and write it here. This is the common example that we normally use. La ilaha illallah. Right? So la is la nafyu lil jins. La ilaha, although this might not be the best example. Okay, I'm gonna use a different example. This one might confuse you even more. La rayba fihi.
La rayba fihi.
Yeah. La rayba fihi. This is a much easier example. This, because of illa, it complicates a few things, and I don't want to get into that discussion. So la rayba fihi, la nafya lil jins. Rayba is the ismu la. So the ismu la becomes mansub. Just like ismu inna becomes mansub. We know this. So when you think about la nafya lil jins, think about how inna works. Okay? And normally, like I said, you know, like inna has an ism and it has a khabar. Also, la nafya lil jins has an ism and it has a khabar. Most of the time, the khabar is mahdhuf. Sometimes it's there, but most of the time it's not mentioned. Like for example, in this case, we ask ourselves, where's the khabar? It's mahdhuf. But then you have, it normally comes with a shibhul jumla. So fihi, or alayhi, or in this case, bayna ahli al-ilmi, something like that. Yeah. So those are the parts of la nafyu lil jins. Yes.
So Salam, the la raiba fihi would be the mubtada then. Complete part would be the mubtada.
Yes. Yes. The whole
What I
thing.
was thinking, Sister Lam, like la raiba is a mubtada and fihi is a mutaliq bil khabar actually yesterday. When I was trying to do it at the time when I was thinking la khilafa is a mubtada. Baina ahl al-ilmi, I was thinking mutaliq bil khabar. And the ta'bir al-Quraniya, that the Quran is, again, I was doing this one as again a mubtada part of something I did.
Yeah,
as
you can look
analysis.
at it. You can look at it that way. You still end up in the same conclusion. But you see, if you do it like that, if you say that this is a mubtada, then you will be confused where to put the is. The is will confuse you. Because if you say, we know you put the mubtada, the is between a mubtada and a khabar. So if you say, la khilafa is the mubtada, bayna ahli al-ilmi is the khabar, then you say there's no contradiction, is between, and then it just kind of confuses everything. You see that?
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and it messes the whole entire thing up. The meaning also disappears, and then you'll be confused further. So it's just better to look at the where the chain breaks. So if this entire structure is la nafyu lil jins, where does it end?
So
And then
Anna Ta'bir al-Qurani is an explanation of la khilafa. So this would be, that is why you're keeping this as a whole one bucket, right?
yes, yeah, that's why I'm putting it in one bucket. Yeah, because it's explaining what the contradiction is. Yeah. Okay.
Jazakallah khair.
Right. Any other questions there? I'm just gonna try and delete some of the stuff, make it cleaner. Okay. I think somebody else has raised their hands. I think we're just gonna do this one line today to see how we fare on. And then we'll see what happens tomorrow, inshallah. So I think we had Saima as well. Saima, maybe you can continue from where Fawzia left off.
I'll try. Oh, وأنه أعلى كلام
So this is gonna be kalamin.
كلام.
Mhm.
Oh, because that's مضاف مضاف إليه.
Yes.
Okay, كلام let's join with that.
Mhm.
أرفعه.
So I'm gonna put a dhamma here, and then I'll explain.
Also, it's not connected to that. Okay.
No.
Okay. وأنه
Mhm.
بحر العربي. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. Oh,
That's
بحر.
good.
Why فتحة on the
This is
raw?
fi'al madi. The fi'al madi.
Oh,
Mhm.
my God. Okay. بحر الأربو then.
So it's gonna be Araba.
Or أربعة. Okay.
أنه.
Oh, I think I should stop. Well, let me try. فلم يستطيعوا
Uh-huh.
مدانات بمثله.
Oh, this one is a tricky one, so I'll help you that. مداناته. Oh, sorry, مداناته, you're right. I made a
Okay.
mistake there. No, is it مداناته? Wait, let me think.
If
I
it's
was
a,
thinking that I was thinking, and they're not able.
if it's plural, it should
مداناته.
be T or
But it's not plural. That's yeah.
Oh,
plural.
oh.
Is
Yeah.
maful bihi, sister? Mudanatahu.
Yes.
I was thinking yes.
Estatiu, file within that. So the other will be maful bihi.
Yes. I was thinking maybe it's plural, and then I thought no, it's not plural. So
It's
that's
plural.
no, it's not.
Hey.
It's not plural.
Mudanat is not plural, sister. Acha.
No, it's naqis.
Oh, mudanat.
Wait,
Yeah,
is
I
it?
thought
Wait, let me think. Adana, Yudinu. No, this is
Idyanan.
Mudana.
Adana, idenu, idana.
No, it's not plural.
Mudan.
It's not plural.
Adana, idenu. What is the meaning of mudanat, sister?
Condemn or debase or condemn.
Condemn. Okay.
Yeah. It's family. It's Jahada family.
Jahadana, mujahad.
Yes, it's the masdar of
Mujahad.
yes, mujahadatun. Jihadan wa mujahadatun.
Jahad. Mujahad.
So there's alif in between. Okay. والإتيان بمثله مع أنه okay. I don't know the تحدى
بمثله مع أن تهداهم. Yes.
هم yeah أكثر من مرة.
Beautiful. مرة.
مرة. Okay.
For somebody who has never read this text, you're really good, mashallah. Like, because we struggled with this text. Oh my God, the first few days we were scratching our heads. Oh, it was tough. Alhamdulillah. Yeah. So it's a good thing the way you're reading. It's good progress, mashallah. You're good. Okay. So let's go bit by bit. So it says وأنه أعلى كلام. So we know أنه, that's our mubtada. So أن and its ism, that will be a mubtada. So we expect whatever comes after it is going to be a khabar. Okay. So أعلى, now أعلى is mabni. It's not telling us what status it is. It's not telling us that it's rafa or nasab or jar. But because we are expecting something like a khabar of anna, then we assume this is marfu. This is the khabar. So we assume this is the khabar. Okay. So وأنه أعلى كلام. And because it is ism tafdil. Remember that pattern akbaru, أعظم.
Ji.
This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
the ism tafdil.
Comparative, yeah.
Comparative. Exactly. So because it's comparative, it's going to be mudaf, and kalamin is going to be mudaf ilay. So وأنه أعلى كلام, this is our khabar 1. And then أرفعه, this is our khabar
Oh.
2.
So there's
of
another
أن.
comparative.
Yes, this is another comparative. أرفعه, the highest.
Yeah. رفع.
Sister Ilham, this is superlative degree, right? على
Oh yes.
كلام.
You're right, superlative actually, because it's mudaf
Smith
mudaf ilayh.
tafsir.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, in English, it's separate. You have superlative separate and comparative separate. But in Arabic, it's both ism tafdil. So the only distinction is either if it has al on it or if it's a mudaf. So in this case, it's a mudaf, so it becomes superlative, the most. So أنه أعلى كلام, and it is the highest speech. وأرفعه, again, the highest speech. Because أعلى and أرفع, synonyms. Yeah. So to rafa, to raise, and the most raised, you can say. So the highest speech and the most raised. Okay. That part is clear, I hope. Or if there are any other questions.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay. وأنه, again, mubtada. So whatever comes after it is going to be our khabar bucket. But in our khabar bucket, it's a جملة فعلية. So we begin a جملة فعلية in a خبر bucket. So بهر العرب. بهر means to bewilder or to basically shock or to surprise. Yeah, so it bewildered the Arabs. فلم يستطيعوا, they could not. So استطاع يستطيع, could not. فلم يستطيعوا, they could not. مداناته, yeah, they could not condemn it. Because, you know, Arabs were very skilled in language. And it bewildered them because they could not condemn it. They tried to condemn it, but they could not. So they could not condemn it. And they could not, والإتيان, so this wow is ma'tuf to mudana. So they could not condemn it, and they could not bring an example like it. والإتيان أتى يأتي إتيانا. So أتى, sorry, this is أسلم. أتى يؤتي إتيانا. Okay, so they could not bring forth an example like it. مع أنه, despite the fact that تحداهم, it challenged them. So تحدى, this is another ناقص word, it means to challenge. تحدى يتحدى. Despite the fact that it challenged them أكثر من مرة. It challenged them more than once. So this whole sentence all the way to the end is the خبر of أن. Yeah, and of course inside it is a جملة فعلية. بهرة is a فعل. العربة, of course the فاعل refers is the inside pronoun هو, which goes back to who, this pronoun which goes back to the Quran. So the fact that it challenged or it bewildered, this is our مفعول به, and they couldn't. فلم يستطيعوا, so this is you could look at it as a new sentence. They couldn't. So استطاع is our فعل, هم is our فاعل, and then مداناته is our مفعول به الأول. Of course it's not الأول, but basically it's connected here. So الإتيان is our مفعول معطوف to the مفعول به. بمثله, this is our متعلق now. بمثله. And then you have مع أنه, again you can say this is another متعلق that is connected to that. So متعلق number 1, MBF1, and then this is another MBF2. مع أنه تحداهم أكثر من مرة. Okay, I don't know if that's clear or is there any clarification needed?
I have a question. Sorry.
No, تحداهم أكثر. So this is أكثر, or sister? تحداهم أكثر.
Yes.
So this is مفعول به. أكثر.
Yes.
أنه is جملة. أن اسم أن is who. تحداهم is again فعل ماضي with مفعول به هم, and أكثر is again. So this is comparison between أكثر من مرة. Is this in this way, sister? خبروا أن. This whole should be خبروا أن, right? تحداهم أكثر من مرة for this أنه.
أكثر, you're right. I think it's أكثر because it's an اسم تفضيل.
جي.
But wait. I'm confused.
أكثر.
See, this text
أكثر.
is أكثر, yeah.
أكثر.
Yeah, it's أكثر.
أكثر.
I think it's a مفعول, نائب مفعول.
It's a comparative because it's coming with min, Sister Ilham. I was thinking like when it comes with, when the ism tabdil comes with min, then it's a comparative one.
Yeah, it is comparative, but I'm trying to think of the haraka at the end. What role is it playing in this sentence? So if this is
مفعول
a
به.
مفعول به?
Yeah, no, this is مفعول. Sister, تحدى is the فعل ماضي.
Yeah, it's the فعل ماضي, but if we say it's a مفعول به, then it should answer the question of what or who. So it challenged them what? Does it make sense? It challenged them. I'm thinking it's a نائب مفعول مطلق. Like it's answering how much. So it's a sifa to a مفعول مطلق that is hidden. I know I'm complicating it further.
Okay. But this whole is the khabar of annana, sister. This whole tahaddahum aksara min marratin will be the khabar for annahu. Ismu anna.
Yes. And this will be the ism, the majroor fi mahalli jar of ma'a.
Ma. Ji. This whole will be again towards this yastati'u fail.
Yes,
Huh?
yes. And then ma'a, the whole thing goes back to yastati'u. Yeah. So I
Sister
will
Ilham, just like-
research on this one. I'm not so sure.
Okay.
Yeah. You're going to say something?
Sister Ilham, I
Come on.
was saying like أنه تحداهم أكثر من مرة. This is one of the again أنه is مبتدا, right? أنه is a مبتدا and تحداهم أكثر من مرة is a خبر, right?
Yes.
Then this is مع أنه is attached to each other, no? Isn't it not? مع is
Yes.
linked with أنه.
Yeah.
Yes.
This whole will form majroor for ma again. Anna with the ism and khabar. The whole will form majroor to ma.
Okay.
So you know, ma'a is a special mudaf, right? So whatever
Yeah.
comes after it is going to be mudaf ilay. But in this case, we have an entire sentence. So this entire sentence is going to be fi mahalli jar,
Jar.
mudaf
Sure,
ilay.
yeah.
This whole thing.
Okay, yeah, we're breaking down again into a bracket again. Yeah, got it.
Yes.
Sure.
So many brackets, by the way. There are so many brackets. But the most important thing that I've come to realize in Arabic, most of the brackets are going to be muta'alliq bil something, either bil fi'al or bil khabar. The biggest chunks, like you see, this whole thing is a muta'alliq. Like most sentences are going to be muta'alliq. So watch out for that. Yeah.
Again, this whole is khabar for this anna. Annahu, what you have written here, na sister. So this whole will be the khabar for that, right?
Yeah,
Bahar
this
al
whole
arba. So
sentence.
this whole again will come as a khabar for this anna here.
Exactly. Yes. Like that. So it's going to be fi mahalli rafa, khabar of anna.
Anna. Ji.
Yeah. So if you can be
My-
able to break it down like that, then it'll become a little bit easier. So this is how I look at it. Okay. So I say wa annahu. This is anna and it's ism. So this is my mubtada. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for a khabar.
Khabar.
And yes,
Ji.
so I have to find my khabar, right? So if the khabar is an entire jumla fi'aliya, where does the sentence end? So that's kind of like
Fail,
just how
fa'il,
you bring it.
maf'ul.
Yeah, look for all those things. Fi'l, fa'il, maf'ul bihi, if
Maf'ul
there's a
bihi.
hal, whatever. Look for all of those things. Yeah. Yeah.
Sister Ilham, this Bahar al-Araba here is the fail ends for this Bahara. Then the falam yastati'u is another fail coming into it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So you're taking this as complete sentence as a khabar. I thought annahu is a mubtada and Bahar al-Araba is khabar. Then again started falam yastati'u mudanati. Is it not possible like that, Sister Ilham?
You can end here. You can end here and say that this fa is istinafiya, is beginning a new sentence. It's not ataf. But I'm looking at it as ataf, or like it's connected to that. But you can just say, okay, now this is fa istinaf, beginning a new sentence. So the sentence ends here. So annahu bahar al-araba, it bewildered the Arabs, and then new sentence. So this will
Yeah,
be
because
now.
anyways it's not going to affect the translation. It's going to be
It
the
will
same.
not. Yes, more or less, yeah. Yeah. So you see how grammar is important, how identifying the different kinds of fa, and because it makes you understand, okay, where does the sentence end? How do I understand this text? But it's fine. You can stop here. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do we know Bahara is fail and not ism without the harakat?
Yeah, that's a tough question, because most of the time you just look at what comes after it. Because if it comes, I don't honestly.
So
I
I
don't
could
know.
have
I
read
think
it
it's
as
like
yeah,
Bihru.
because I could have read it with Baharun or Baharun, but I think probably dictionary would help here. I don't know.
Yes, dictionary. We had to look up most of these words actually.
Yeah.
Even Arkan would have been a file, na, sister. Al Arabu, it can be the thing. Bahara, because it is one, that is Madi. First, why can't it be an outside doer? Arab can
It
be
can't.
outside doer also, right?
No, it can't. The meaning
It
would
can't.
change. If you say
Okay,
Al-Arabu, then it means the
Mhm.
Arabs bewildered.
Mm-hmm.
Then it changes the meaning. But we want to say the Quran bewildered the Arabs.
Okay, so we have to make it mustatir there in that who was the Quran there in Bahara.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Ji.
This the fa'il is huwa.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
So again,
So
also
that will be
understand
going back to that in Annahu, sister. That same huwa is going back to that Annahu
yes,
here,
exactly.
huh?
Yes.
Bahara. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions or clarifications on that part?
How did you translate the second annahu, ma'a annahu?
Given that, or so this, it comes together like that. It's more of a, I don't know how BUJ translated it, but I think given that, or annahu, we didn't put it here. While at the
Ma'anahu.
same time.
While.
Yeah, I would just translate as given that, given the fact that. This is a template, it comes like this with that same kind of meaning, while at the same time, or given that the fact that.
So that who is the which Zamir? The Shan?
Yes, the Mirushan. Yeah. Yeah, this would be the Mirushan.
Two lines. Good job.
We'll get there, inshallah. One day we'll read one page, another day we'll read 2 pages, but it's good. Good. Good progress. It's better to understand everything than to just go through it and not understand anything. وَإِيَّاكُمْ جَزَاكُمُ اللَّهُ خَيْرًا. I think we can stop there. I think that's good enough.
Do you want to tell us what you want us to try to read for tomorrow? Next 2 lines or the next paragraph?
You can do the paragraph, because at least
Okay.
we won't have, because I spent some time reading the introduction remarks, so we'll have more time. Yeah. So we can just do this paragraph and see how far we go. Although there's an entire ayah here, which will be easier to cruise for. If you can do more than that, fine. If you can't, then that paragraph is also just fine. It's okay.
Or maybe we can do the not the ayah, the lines before that in both paragraphs.
Yeah. Skip the ayah.
Yeah.
That would be good.
All right.
You'll be getting
Inshallah.
the PDF, sister, of this.
Sorry. Oh, you want?
PDF of
Okay. Yeah.
this?
I can share the PDF in the group for
We
those who don't have it.
Yeah.
All right. I think we can end there. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك
Inshallah.
لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم guys.
Walaikum
Walaikum
assalam wa
assalam
rahmatullahi
wa
wa barakatuh.
rahmatullahi.
Jazakallah khairan kasira.
إياكم
A
جزاكم
new
الله.
experience, sister. Jazakallah for this.
No problem. You're welcome.